Phillip Rivers is back in our lives in the AFC South. He signs with the Colts practice squad yesterday.
Yeah. That was, you know what? I'm glad you mentioned that, because that should be one of the weirdest things about this.
Right.
Because when they expanded the practice squad rules, it created this world where we see this all the time. These older veterans who are still on practice squads.
Yeah.
Hey kids, well, we're telling you about the Boz and John Madden. Let me also tell you about the old days of the practice squad, where it was 5 guys who are all in their first 2 years in the league, most of whom never had a real shot of making it. Now you've got guys who are putting off their Hall of Fame induction potentially, to, or at least he's putting off his Hall of Fame eligibility if he gets elevated to active roster.
Right. Oh, is that what it is? Okay, so he's got to be on the active roster. Okay.
That's the way I understand it. I might be wrong, but what I read yesterday was that if he's on the practice squad, he'll still be eligible for the Hall of Fame 5 years after his retirement date. Okay. But if he gets elevated to the active roster, that's it. They got to kick it down the can. It's pretty, you know what, honestly, that might be one of the coolest things about this, that it shows you a little bit that Phillip Rivers isn't all wrapped up in thinking about what used to be and everything.
It's funny. I heard a theory on the way in. I was listening to not our national show before us, but another station's. And it was Chris Canty. It was ESPN. Yeah. I mean, I don't know why. I'm toe-tapping around it. It's 5 in the morning. Who cares? But he made an interesting point in that, and I don't think Phillip Rivers is thinking this way. I think Phillip Rivers is just a nut who wants to play football again and probably wants to help out an old friend in Shane Steichen. They go back to San Diego days with the Chargers when Steichen was on the staff there. Is that Phillip Rivers, he's a finalist for the Hall of Fame. He's one of the final 26 guys. It's his first go-round. This is his first time on the ballot. He's a finalist along with Drew Brees and Eli Manning and several other guys. And I think the thought is, I texted with John McClain yesterday about this, about, where does he stand in his chances to get in? And it doesn't look like he's got a great chance. I don't think Phillip Rivers is a Hall of Famer. I think he was really, really good, but never an MVP, never made it to a Super Bowl, was never one of the 4 or 5 best quarterbacks in football. But Canty made an interesting point. He's like, man, if he comes off the bench here, comes off the street, and does something like this for the Indianapolis Colts, does it enhance his Hall of Fame chances?
Yeah, if they somehow, I don't know.
I mean, the odds of that happening are like 2%, but I just thought it was
make the Super Bowl,
I guess. It was an interesting angle to it that I hadn't even entertained it because I don't think it's going to work. That's
honestly, why. Okay, I do have to back up a little bit. It's amazing how thoroughly I had written off the Colts in my mind, where I had a moment yesterday. I was like, wow, what are they going to do anyway? And then I remembered, oh, yeah, they still have one of the best records in the league, or one of the better records in the league. Yeah. And there's a chance that they could make the playoffs, et cetera, et cetera. I honestly, as a Texans fan, I don't like – I really don't. I would much prefer that Anthony Richardson make a heroic comeback from his broken orbital bone. How did he break his orbital? A resistance band snapped into it. This guy is Mr. Glass. It is amazing. I had completely forgotten. There's so many things about the Colts that I've completely forgotten, it turns out. He broke his orbital bone a few weeks ago. We talked about this at the time when in pregame warm-ups he was working with a resistance band, and apparently it snapped back into his face and he broke his orbital bone. Was that the same
pregame warm-up where Charvarius Ward wound up in concussion protocol because he had a teammate slam into him?
God, I don't know.
I don't know either, but the Colts have a warm-up issue.
But Anthony Richardson has a fragility issue.
Yeah.
Or frailty.
Either one.
Are those both words?
I think they are both. I think they both work there. For me, it's 6:07 in the morning. Perfectly fine.
I had completely forgotten that fragility was a word.
Yeah. So so Phillip Rivers signing here. I don't know, man. You're right. As a Texan fan, I'd rather they just go with the guys who we know are going to lose a bunch of games.
Yeah.
But as a football fan, I'm completely intrigued by this. I mean, this would be unprecedented, right? I mean, This is Flacco coming off the couch times 5. Joe Flacco came in and had that heroic run at the end of the 2023 season for the Browns, but he had played the year before. He was just on the couch for 10 weeks or whatever it was of the season.
As J.J. Watt pointed out yesterday, you sent me this tweet after I'd already retweeted it.
I'm looking at it. Go ahead.
I was deeply offended that you don't monitor my Twitter account on a half-hour basis. J.J. Watt, who's doing the Colts game this week, apparently, said, fun fact learned in production meetings. Phillip Rivers ran the same offense as the Colts for his son Gunner's high school team this season.
Mm-hmm.
He and Shane Steichen spoke weekly about it, discussing plays and even film. So familiarity with the scheme should be no problem whatsoever.
Yeah. This tells me Phillip Rivers is going to start on Sunday, man. I read that tweet, and I'm like, he is starting on Sunday.
I wonder how much of the RPO package and the zone reads and everything they're gonna keep for Phillip Rivers. I feel like Rivers. He's just so he'd be like, I'll do a coach.
Oh yeah, he'd love to run the football. He wouldn't do it well, but he'd love to do it.
I'm not going to try to do my Phillip Rivers impression. As Lance found out yesterday, again talking to the young generation. Yeah. A lot of people convinced that Lance's impersonation of Phillip Rivers is AI. Yeah, they were like, "Hey, no, everybody, this is AI. This isn't really Phillip Rivers." Like, oh,
that's
God.
The ultimate compliment when you get.
I guess.
I'm saying to Lance, yeah, like it's when you get mistaken for AI on the voice front.
But his impersonation of Rivers isn't as much about the accuracy of the. It's the spirit.
It's the over the top.
It's the spirit of it. Yeah.
It's the willingness to do anything.
AI would probably make it sound more like Phillip Rivers, but it wouldn't capture the spirit of Phillip Rivers.
It's really funny. Yeah, no, it's really, really funny.
But it was like all these people. Like, hey, I'm pretty sure this is AI, everybody. It's clearly yeah. I hate this world.
That happened with Lance like 20 years ago when he did a Mac Brown impersonation, and everybody thought it was This is before, this is before Twitter. This is way before any social media, and everybody thought it was actually Mac Brown. It was really funny. All right, so Phillip Rivers is 44 years old, which a few factoids here. He is a grandfather, as you pointed out yesterday. So
was he coaching his son or his grandson in high school? I guess that was his son, Gunner.
His son, Gunner. He's older. He's 4 years older than his head coach. He's older. Boy, I heard the number this morning. He's older than nearly half the head coaches in the NFL right now. You and I talked about that yesterday, how it's a young man's game now.
The median is 47, I think. Yeah. Almost all of them are. You know what they are, Sean? Half the NFL coaches are between age 37 and 47.
Yeah.
So he's like,
He's older than I think the number is like 13 of them or something like that.
Yeah. So it's.
He's older than his OC, Jim Bob Cooter. His center, Tanner Bortolini, who right now is best known for being walked back into the lap of whoever Daniel Jones. God, my God. In the game where Will Anderson Jr. just shoved him back there. Tanner Bortolini was 22 months old when Phillip Rivers was drafted into the NFL back in 2004. And we mentioned the Hall of Fame. This was one of the first things I thought of because I'm kind of a Hall of Fame junkie. And McLean confirmed, and it was confirmed by other people yesterday. I texted John immediately. I said, hey, does this reset his clock for the Hall of Fame? And John's like, yeah, absolutely it does. It starts over again. If he plays, if he gets signed to a contract, it starts over again. I'll text John and get confirmation on the practice squad thing this morning, Seth. I'll text him a little later, so I'm not texting him too early. But yeah, Phillip Rivers, 44 years old, hasn't played in 5 years. Now, Canty had the take where I liked it, where he's like, maybe this affects his Hall of Fame candidacy. The take he had that I didn't like was, hey, when we last saw Phillip Rivers, he won 4 out of the last 5 games at the end of that season to get them into the playoffs. That was in 2020. That was the COVID year, so it was even harder to do that. And I'm like, everybody was dealing with COVID. Like, it wasn't harder for the Colts to win 4 out of 5 games. Like, the whole league is dealing with COVID. He was going against a team that was dealing with the COVID issue. According to Stephen Holder on ESPN, Rivers is currently a semifinalist for the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2026. Per the Hall of Fame, Rivers signing to the Colts practice squad has no effect on his eligibility. However, if he signs to the active roster, his eligibility clock would reset. Okay, so I would say the practice squad thing then is probably he's going to practice this week. He's going to do some things this week. It's probably to see like what would be sad is if they signed him to the actual roster right out of the chute. Yeah. And then he pulls a hamstring because he's old and he doesn't get on the field, and his Hall of Fame candidacy gets rejiggered for another 5 years. I don't think it's necessarily sad in that
he sounds like he's pretty busy in retirement. I mean, he's got, how many kids does he have? We always
10.
exaggerate.
It's 10. I asked.
Kids.
Yeah, 10. I asked.
He's got 10 kids. He's coaching his son's high school football team. Yeah. It's not like he's sitting around kind of stewing about how, oh boy, I'm going to get disrespected because they're not going to put me in the Hall of Fame, or just waiting for the call or anything.
Yeah, sad may be the wrong word. I'm just saying, like, it would suck if his candidacy got pushed back another 5 years because of an administrative issue. Like if he got hurt in practice or something like that, like as opposed to if he gets in a game, then all bets are off. You know what you were getting into.
I feel like I wish they would make everybody wait until they're 50 to get inducted into the Hall of Fame for two reasons. One, incentive to not die. So two, which is important. And two, you don't appreciate it when you're a young man. You don't necessarily. It doesn't hit you quite the same way. You don't have perspective on things. Like when I was just, Pro Football fame, my high school Hall of Fame, pretty much the same thing. But I remember when I got inducted into my high school and college Hall of Fames, it was like right after I was done playing, and I didn't really, I hadn't had time to sit back and really reflect on on everything.
Would you have? If you got inducted into your high school Hall of Fame a little later, you would have appreciated it.
I would have made it more like Michael Jordan's speech. I would have just, I would have invited some of the teachers and coaches that I really hated.
Okay.
I would have invited them there and then dressed them down in front of everybody.
Gotcha. All right.
In front of everybody in that breakout room at the Radisson.